For sunrise over Jerusalem. It's a little delayed again with all the haze. We're looking over the Mount of Olives here. That's the east, obviously, with the sunrise. Maybe due east is a little north of there to the center of the screen. And then we look further north. We have quite the extension up towards Ramallah. We're here at Notre Dame, for all of you who remember Notre Dame. Here it's the Dame pronunciation. It's pronounced Notre Dame like it would be in France, because there was a French foundation. The famous King David Hotel. The De La Salle School inside the city walls, the old city walls, Mount Zion, the Dormition Church, the Last Supper, so-called David's tomb. I say that with great respect because the historical understanding, that's the new gate, is that David was buried on the East Hill from the city of Jerusalem at that time, which was way down there, so right down the center of the screen more or less, and then the eastern hill would be actually where all those graveyards are now, for the Jewish graveyards there at the Valley of Josaphat. And there we have, the sun is making more progress, but while we can still see it, let's focus for a moment here. We have the Franciscan Tower here, the Church of the Savior, and then the Lutheran Tower, the Church of the Redeemer, dedicated about 110 years ago by Kaiser Wilhelm. And behind that you see that there's a little cross on top of the Lutheran Tower, and it coincides from this perspective with the level of a grey line, which are the hills of Moab in Jordan. So even with all the haze we can see that, and the Dead Sea is this side of those hills. And then here we see that other hump in the desert right behind the bright cross over the Holy Sepulchre here in the immediate foreground. And in the middle ground then we see that hill, which is the highest hill in the Judean desert. And it's associated with the sacrifice of the scapegoat from the temple way back in the day. There were, on Yom Kippur, there were two goats, or one was sacrificed, the other was loaded with the sins of the people and brought out to that hill and handed over to Satan. And we're going to have Yom Kippur relatively soon, probably in about a month, because of that comes after New Year celebration. So here we are, people, and it comes before Sukkot, the tents. It's a Saturday morning, Shabbat, so the streets are basically empty. It's an amazing feature in Jerusalem and a little bit in general in Israel. I imagine it's much more so in Jerusalem than in other places like Tel Aviv. But people close down for Shabbat. They take time off for family. And originally, obviously, and those who are still religious today, for God. It's a day of rest, of thankfulness, of gratitude. And I think we could need this checking out. So can you hear the bells? here of the Church of Our Saviour. It's 6:30 in the morning. And maybe afterwards there'll be more chimes, but closer to 7, I think. So in a couple of months' time, God willing, we'll have the opportunity to do this again, and you'll hear the chimes early in the morning. So I'm in Jerusalem for meetings and for a retreat today, and with our community. And then let's look briefly at the readings. So the readings today are very interesting. They're focused on work. And we have the parable of the talents. Very interesting parable. And the parable of the talents is a delight. It's there are a couple of sides to it. I think it's very realistic because it shows the variety of possibilities of talent. That the important thing is not so much what talents you have in contrast or in comparison to other people. That's not the point. The point is what we do with our talents, how we develop them. And that is clearly the major teaching. And that's corroborated by the first reading in Thessalonians, which is about charity, about love for others, translated into work. Imagine somebody in the family that would never wash up the dishes, somebody that would never clean the bathroom, somebody that would never peel the potatoes for cooking. I don't know if you do that, but anyway, somebody who would not help. How much of work is not paid? We get paid a salary for services when we're working together with others, but there's so much done in the family. And it's not paid, it's given, and it's charity. How much work is charity? And isn't it wonderful, even though work is paid, that it would also be done out of charity, out of love, out of a spirit of service. Imagine a nurse looking after patients, and she's not counting the patients and the amount of money she gets for each one. At least I've never felt that. Maybe there are some doctors who'll be like that. They need to clock in as many patients and they get paid like that. But you get this sense that they're there for you. They're there to serve you, to help you out of your illness. Imagine teachers in a school. They're not there teaching, correcting writing, correcting math, teaching syntax and grammar. They're not there for the pay. Okay, they need the pay for the support of their family. That's fair and just, but they're there to help the children to grow. Imagine the policemen, the policewomen. And it's often a very ungrateful service, and in some countries treated with terrible violence. And obviously, of course, there can be corruption also of police, so that's it can happen in every society, in every sector of life. But imagine their work. It's very ungrateful work. Like most supervisors of propriety in companies and institutions, it's also very ungrateful work. But it's real work. And therefore it's charity, it's self-giving for the good of others. Hey, look at all this green. I've rarely seen it so green, or maybe it just looks very green to my eyes after all the brown of Galilee at the moment. Isn't that great? Such green. Imagine that type of life in the work we do. The freshness of love, of bringing life to others. All right, here inside Notre Dame as well is quite green. That's the auditorium here. So we have got a lot to chew on today from the readings. A great inspiration for our lives, and how the love of God becomes translated into very practical aspects for our life. Look at these roses down here. Oh, look at all these birds. It's like Wadi Hammam. They're all perched over there in the corner of the edge of the auditorium. They all rose up there together. I don't know if you could see them very well on the screen. I remember these roses being planted when I arrived here, so they have special meaning for me because I was staying over here. You see where this balcony is? on the edge of the building, and then you just go in there, I think it was a third window. There was a room there, a small little room, and that's where I was for a year. And the first day I woke up after coming here, the gardeners were planting these early in the morning, and they're still growing. Wonderful rose bushes. So if you're down there someday, I'll show you more close up. Okie doke, people. Well, this is Jerusalem for anybody who's never seen it before, and I wish you many blessings today. And we're going to have these days of the meetings, because of our community schedule, I'm going to be celebrating the live stream mass for those of you who attend at 8:15 here. And right now that'll be a little less than 2 hours time. So maybe some of you, especially in the east of here, Australia, Hong Kong, Singapore, will be joining us at a different hour than other days. And then it will always be available for all those who are going to sleep now. And I wish you a great night over in the Americas. And see you later, alligators. Thank you for joining this morning. It's wonderful to have you here always. God bless you. There we see a little bit of Notre Dame towers there.